But joining us right now to talk about action starting tomorrow in the world of sports in Omaha, College World Series, college baseball. Now that it's College World Series time, we had to bring back onto the show our buddy, the great Collin Wilson from the Action Network. And everybody's got to check out and follow on Twitter. If you bet college baseball and you want lineup announcements, you want you want to know who the starting pitchers are, you want to know what's happening during the games, you have to follow on Twitter at P3Straight, at P3Straight on Twitter. And Collin is on Twitter at _Collin1. Collin spelled with 2 L's. What's going on, my man? How are you?
Is it a great day to be alive on a Thursday on You Better You Bet? It always is, Nick. Thanks for having me on once again.
Oh, we love having you on the show. We love having you breaking down the College World Series. So I actually want to start with your alma mater here. And I think the longtime listeners and viewers of this show, people that follow Collin's Action Network stuff, like his show with Stuckey and Brett McMurphy, and follow Collin on Twitter, know that he's an Arkansas alum. And Arkansas, one of the favorites, Collin, the odds-on favorite at BetMGM right now to win the College World Series, and a huge game coming up against LSU, who's the other favorite to win the College World Series. So just do you think one of those two teams gets it? How are you feeling right now as an Arkansas alum heading into this weekend?
How do I feel? I'm scared for my life. And I think Dave Van Horn in his interview, when he started crying, the man has been the head coach for over 20 years. He's never shown emotion as a Razorback head coach and started crying at the podium about this team getting to Omaha. He knows it's time. We feel the pressure. We feel the intensity of the moment. And that's why let's just take numbers out, because everybody knows I'm a stat guy. Let's take numbers out of this. LSU Arkansas is going to play in the most electric atmosphere I've ever been in my life when I go to Omaha on Saturday night. And whoever loses that game is going to have to go to the losers bracket and fight their way back. I think LSU is built from a pitching staff perspective to fight through the losers bracket and get back. I don't feel that way about Arkansas when it comes to their mental, emotional state. Now, if Zach Root comes out, pitches a gym, and that lineup does what it does all season long at the plate, and they play perfect defense like they always have, they're going to win Omaha. But if they take a loss to LSU and they go down to losers bracket, what is the psyche? Because I'm a little bit nervous about that aspect. Now, as far as, just to get that gambling handicap out of the way, the number is perfect from the side and total. It should be a coin flip, Zach Root versus Cade Anderson on Saturday night. It should be lined from a total perspective exactly where it's at. So I appreciate everybody that's followed me all year that has an LSU and an Arkansas future. We can kind of sit back. But if you don't, this is perfectly priced right now, and it is the biggest game of the weekend.
Well, it's so interesting to hear you say that, Collin, because so far this tournament has been absolutely insane. It's been wacky. I mean, Murray State, nobody had that as they're still dancing here. Clock hasn't struck midnight on the Racers. If we were to get more wackiness this weekend into next weekend in Omaha, and let's remove Arkansas and LSU from the equation, who would be the beneficiary in your eyes that could actually win the College World Series if it's not one of the two SEC big boys?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love this Murray State story that's going on, they have been so excellent at the plate. They're 11th in the nation in strikeout to walk ratio, which means they are great at pitch selection. The problem is they're facing a UCLA pitcher, Michael Barnett, who only has 18 walks in 81 innings this year. So they're not going to get the benefit of getting them on base. But whenever, I will say this from a live betting standpoint, once Michael Barnett goes out for UCLA, expect the Racers to start putting runs up on the board. And Femi, the problem with Murray State is that their bullpen, they're bringing in the worst ERA, the worst xFIP. The bullpen's just not going to be able to hang with what they're going to go up against. So you look to the other side of the bracket, and we can talk about any of those games that you want, but Coastal Carolina from a pitching perspective and the fact that they are elite bunters, and you're thinking, bunting? Why is that so important? Just watch a college baseball game because most teams can't play defense. Coastal Carolina has a huge upside on bracket one.
Collin, I was going to ask you about Coastal Carolina because their pitching staff, like you said, is unbelievable. Do you think they're the likeliest to come out of the other side of the bracket and face whoever comes out of the Arkansas or LSU side?
I do. And I've told people there's only one team that's dropped to the losers bracket and made it all the way to the championship, and that was LSU behind Paul Skeens. So what you look at is handicap the first games, see who goes into the winners bracket. And in this particular game, Coastal Carolina should beat Arizona and Owen Kromkowski. So what I did is I went through every box score where Owen Kromkowski of Arizona has pitched to find out how many times he's had to field a bunt. Turns out Utah on May 9th laid down 3 sacrifice bunts. If you go back and watch it, Owen Kromkowski had a serious problem with bunts being laid down. Everybody on the Coastal lineup bunts. They're I think 9th in the nation of bunt rate. So I definitely like Coastal in this game. I do think it's a little juicy for everybody out there. The reason why you may have seen a minus 250 come down to minus 230 is because I line this game closer to minus 180. So from a math perspective, the run line looks good on Arizona. But at the end of the day, if Arizona can't defend that bunt, Coastal's going to win that game.
If it does end up being, like, let's say Coastal makes it to the final, and if it's LSU or Arkansas, which team out of those two is the most scared of Coastal? Who matches up worst with Coastal, and who gives Coastal the best chance to win it all?
Yeah, I'm going to go. It's hard because Arkansas is second in the nation in fielding percentage, and LSU is the 11th. LSU has a little bit worse bullpen than Arkansas. LSU has a little bit less pop in their lineup than Arkansas. So Coastal's best chances of winning it all is actually to match up with LSU. And I think when you look at that, Brent Iredale plays third base for Arkansas, and the man is a machine, and I think might be playing defense at the Major League Baseball level. You can't lay a bunt down on him. So if you're Coastal Carolina, you are big Go Tigers fans on Saturday night.
You better you bet here on this Thursday. Nick Costos, Femi Abebefe, Jake Hassan with us as well, asking questions about the College World Series to our good friend, our guest at this time, Collin Wilson from the Action Network. Everybody follow at P3 Straight on Twitter for all your live college baseball betting needs. My friend, we have touched on 6 of the 8 teams coming up in Omaha. We have not talked about either Louisville or Oregon State, and they are on the Arizona Coastal side of the bracket, a.k.a. not the LSU Arkansas side, and they are playing tomorrow night, and Oregon State's a pretty hefty favorite in the game at BetMGM. Total is 10. What do you think about that game, Oregon State-Louisville tomorrow night, and do you like either of those teams to make any type of noise in the College World Series?
That is an over game all the way. I've already put my money down on it, projected 11.6, and I think when you watch those Oregon State bats and what they've been able to do lately, it's just been so impressive. I mean, they're just firing on all cylinders from an offensive perspective. Now, Louisville does have a pitcher going in, Patrick Forbes, and he's had 8 walks in his last 2 games. Now, he strikes a lot of guys out, but he walks a lot of guys, and you just don't want to put people on base with what this Oregon State team is able to do in the clutch. But another reason I like the over is because Oregon State recently promoted freshman phenom Dax Whitney from the Saturday Game 2 starter up to Game 1. If you go and watch the Supers against Florida State, he was shaky the first 2 innings against the Seminoles. He just looked like a freshman kid that had been handed the ball to start the Supers, and that's exactly what he looked like. Is that kind of same effect go into play when he gets to Omaha? And remember, shadows and park factors are a really big deal in Omaha and Charles Schwab, but that only applies to the day games. When the shadows come in and they hit that pitching mound and that home plate, it can really be conducive to unders, but this game's going to be 6 p.m. and the shadows will be gone. I like the over in that Louisville-Oregon State game. You got a freshman pitcher going up against a Louisville bullpen that is the worst xFIP and worst ERA of any team in Omaha.
The analysis is incredible. Your most likely final, Collin, is blank v. blank.
Arkansas is beating Coastal. They don't even need a third game. Woo Pig Suey. National champ.
Man. Okay. All right. So I need to say this then. You know, our guy Jake Hassan, who asked a couple questions, Jake knows his stuff, right? Jake loves LSU to win the College World Series. Collin, my question to you, do you respect Jake Hassan?
I respect Jake, but only if he realizes that Anthony Ianson is the guy that can beat Arkansas, and it's not Cade Anderson. So everybody in Fayetteville right now is on pins and needles about who Jay Johnson, the LSU head coach, is going to throw, because Ianson tore Arkansas's lineup apart. I think he went 7 innings, 11 Ks, no earned runs. I mean, if Anthony Ianson's pitching on Saturday night, this is a different bowl game. So LSU would definitely be more of a favorite in my eyes.
Jake, do you know that, or are you just like shooting from the hip here?
No, I know that because I know ball.
Yeah, but you like LSU, so it seems like maybe you don't know ball. Collin, if it makes you feel any better, I don't respect Jake. Great job on the show as always, my friend, breaking down the College World Series. You know we love having you. On Twitter at _Collin1, Collin spelled with 2 L's, at P3 Straight on Twitter. My friend, good luck with the bets. I'll be on Arkansas as well. Woo Pig Suey, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon.